What's up guys, my name is Brandon and today I'm going to be showing you how to preserve your iPhone 7 or any previous iPhone's battery life to last the entire day like mine usually does. So all the tips I'll be showing you in this video are the techniques that I actually use myself and I tell all of my friends and family to use when they complain about their battery drainage. Now I've done a couple of these in the past, but since it's 2017 I think it's time for an updated version with an ultimate list of the best battery saving techniques. So in this video I'm going to be showing you 15 pro tips for saving and preserving the battery life on your iPhone on iOS 10 and beyond. Alright, so let's go ahead and get straight into it. So the first thing is to disable Wi-Fi assist. So you can get to this by going to settings and cellular. So if you constantly have poor Wi-Fi signal or just a slow Wi-Fi speed in general, Wi-Fi assist will temporarily disable Wi-Fi and use cellular data to boost your speeds and your connection. So switching back and forth between the two will definitely drain your battery, not to mention possibly cost you a ton of money when you go over your data limit, especially if you don't know you're using it because you don't get any kind of, alert or anything saying that Wi-Fi assist is in use. Next up, you need to disable email push and fetch. So you can get to this by going to settings, mail, accounts, and then fetch new data here at the bottom. And if you set it to push, if you set any of your accounts to push or fetch, your device will constantly be connecting to the network, whether it's Wi-Fi or cellular, to check for new mail on a consistent basis. So if you use the mail application, you definitely need to have manual set instead of push or fetch. That way new mail only gets fetched every time you open up the mail application, as opposed to always running in the background. Now obviously if you have important email accounts, business email accounts or something like that, you can set them to push or fetch at a certain time. As long as you don't get too many emails there, I'd even recommend using a computer or an iPad that's always on just to get those emails instead of your phone. But it's really just up to you and it depends on how many emails you get. Next up is reducing screen usage. So this is a very basic one. Every time you unlock your phone, a lot of people don't even realize this. Every time you unlock your phone to reply to a text or, call somebody back, it takes up so much more battery than if you were to just do it all from the lock screen itself. So if you, for instance, if you get a text message, you can just use the quick reply feature in iOS 10 to respond to the message straight from the lock screen. Or if somebody called you and you want to call them back, you can just do that straight from the lock screen by sliding to call that person back. Instead of going all the way back to the home screen, unlocking your device, going to the home screen, that's just going to take up so much more battery by doing that, especially if you do it multiple times throughout the day. The fourth tip is to disable notifications for certain applications. So every time a notification pops up, it'll either vibrate or make a sound and wake your device up. So you need to disable these for applications that you visit frequently. Like for instance, in my case, I use Twitter a ton. I practically live on Twitter at this point. So I have notifications disabled since I'm always opening the application. I will see those notifications when I open it. It's inevitable for me to check at least every hour. So it really doesn't make any sense for me to have notifications on for Twitter, especially since I'll be getting so many notifications and it will definitely drain my battery. And you definitely want to disable notifications for the applications that you don't even use a lot or, apps that don't even send you many notifications. Go ahead and turn those off. And, even for applications that do send you notifications, at the very least, just disable sound and show on lock screen. That way it just only shows as, badges on the icon on your home screen and also in Notification Center. The fifth tip is to not kill applications once you stop using them. So I'm surprised that I still have to mention this in 2017, but a lot of people still do this for some reason. And it takes a lot more energy and resources to completely reopen an application rather than just letting it stay suspended in the background. And Apple actually confirmed this last year to put the theories to rest. So definitely let the app stay in a suspended state in the background. Do not close all the apps once you stop using them, just because it's going to eventually cause, your battery to drain quicker. Next up is to use the built-in battery usage section in settings. You can find this in settings, then battery, and this will just show you which applications are using up the most of your battery. That way you know which applications you should definitely be cutting back on. And I definitely recommend using the last 7 days tab instead of the last 24 hours tab, just because you have a lot more data, when you look at the last 7 days. The seventh tip comes in this same section right here in settings, and that is to enable low power mode, but before 20%. So most people actually wait until 20% to turn this feature on, but sometimes I'll actually have mine on at like 50 or 60 or even more just to maximize my battery when I'm on my iPhone for an extended period of time. And it won't really make a big difference if you're not using your iPhone a lot at the time, like if it's on standby. But if you're using it for an extended period of time, it will definitely save you some battery by turning low power mode on, no matter what percentage battery you're on above 20%. The eighth tip is to disable disable auto brightness, and you can get to this by going to settings and then display and brightness. So auto brightness constantly uses the light sensor in your iPhone to monitor your surroundings, and it adjusts the screen according to your environment. So you definitely want to disable this and manually adjust your brightness whenever it's needed. The next tip is to disable background app refresh for most applications. So you can get to this by going to settings, general, background app refresh, and I'd say at least 95% of your apps do not need to be refreshed in the background, but of course some important ones do need to be. This basically just fetches new information in the background, and when you open up the application, you're presented with the latest tweets or the latest Reddit posts or whatever it is, you're presented with that because it already refreshed itself in the background. Number 10 is to disable location services. So you can get to this by going to settings, privacy, location services, and this is a big one, probably one of the biggest ones on this list. So in this section, you want to make sure that most of the applications are set to while using instead of always on. So except for certain apps like Nest, for example, it needs to know my location at all times, so I have that on always, but pretty much every other app I have just while using the application. And you may notice that some will only have always or never, like the weather application for instance, but you could just go ahead and use never on that and input the zip code to see your weather. It basically just works the same way, except for it won't constantly be using your GPS signal to pick up your weather. So scrolling all the way to the bottom, you see system services, and in here you want to scroll down until you see product improvement, and you want to make sure all of these are disabled. These 4 toggles should be disabled unless you're like a developer or something like that. And there's another tab here called frequent locations, and this is a pretty interesting one. So you can disable this, but it does come in handy when using applications like maps or, something like that, but it's really up to you. It's kind of, invasive for some people because it shows where you go a lot. It kind of just tracks you around. So you can disable this if you want. Again, it's just really up to you. So the 11th tip is not really related to the iPhone itself, but it's to get an Anker Powerbank. So this is easily one of my best investments into my iPhone 7 Plus, or really any previous iPhone that I've owned for that matter. And it is much better than a Mophie case, which I had for my 6S. So I know this is kind of cheating, but trust me, you will use this thing all the time and you will never have to worry about your battery again. Believe me, I got this thing for Christmas and it has changed my life. So you definitely want to get this. It'll charge your battery, I believe, 7 times over or something ridiculous like that. So I left a link down in the description below. If you haven't picked one up yet, go ahead and pick one up. 100% worth the money. Click that link, buy it now. Trust me, it's worth it. If it's not worth it, message me on Twitter and I will give you your money back. All right, so the 12th tip is to disable automatic iTunes downloads. So if you go to settings and then iTunes and App Store, you can see a section here for automatic downloads. You want to make sure all 4 of those are disabled. There's really no point in having any of these automatically update. Next up, you want to have reduce motion enabled. So if you go to general, accessibility, reduce motion, you can see this toggle here, and you want to make sure it is enabled so that you are reducing motion. So motion basically gives you that cool 3D parallax effect, but it's really just more of a gimmicky feature that costs you battery life. So I'd definitely go ahead and disable that if I were you. So the one before last tip is to disable vibration by going to general, accessibility, and vibration. And the vibration sensor is a well-known battery killer, and that's why I really just suggest disabling vibration for every sound or notification on your device. Now, if you have your phone on silent, then I guess it's okay to turn on vibration. You can actually have that enabled inside of your sound settings, but overall, I'd say that you definitely want to disable vibration. Just, reduce the amount of vibration your phone gives off as much as you can. So the final tip is only if none of the above worked for you and you're still having bad battery drainage issues, you need to either restore and update to the latest firmware or get your battery completely replaced. So if you've tried everything on this list, including restoring and updating to the latest firmware through iTunes, if it still hasn't been fixed, your battery most likely needs to be replaced. So if I were you, I would just go down to the Apple Store and get it fixed as soon as possible. That way you aren't pulling out too much of your hair, because I know that is a very, very frustrating position to be in. So there you have it, guys. Those are 15 tips to help preserve your iPhone's battery, and hopefully it will last a full day now. Obviously, it's going to vary from person to person depending on how much you actually use your device, but hopefully this will help you last an entire day. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give this video a like and also subscribe for a lot more iPhone tips, tricks, hacks, reviews, and much more. I also just want to mention that this is the second video of my 4 consecutive, possibly 5 consecutive days in a row of releasing videos. So I dropped one yesterday on Wednesday. This one will be uploaded today on Thursday. Then I have one coming on Friday, and then a jailbreak update video coming on Saturday. So possibly even Sunday as well. So this is pretty much the first time in my channel's history where I've uploaded for pretty much like 4 or 5 days in a row. So that's crazy. Got a lot of good stuff coming in, especially the jailbreak update video. I know a lot of people have been really wondering what is going on with Luca Tedesco and this Yalu jailbreak. You know, where's the gamma? Where's the final? Is he dead? Is jailbreaking dead? A lot of stuff to cover in that, you know, a lot of theoretical stuff because nothing has really been, you know, confirmed or denied, or, you know, nothing has really been published because it's been quiet. So definitely want to talk about that in the jailbreak update video. I think you guys will enjoy that one. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I will see you soon.